Nelly. I still am, I tell myself every about 10 minutes that I'm here, and I still haven't quite grasped it. I'm not sure if it's because we got here at 4 o'clock this morning, and it's technically like yesterday back in New Mexico, which is where we're from. But I'm trying to tame the butterflies and live authentically, like some of you may have heard in the previous talks. I'm still struggling with that, so I'm a little bit nervous. Anyway, so my name is, oh, thank you. All right, so my name is Stacia McIntosh, and I'm a PhD student. I'm a PhD student delegate from New Mexico State University, and there I actually study reproductive physiology, and I have an emphasis in biochemistry and toxicology and molecular biology. And my research mainly involves the reproductive physiology in farm animals, like cattle and sheep and stuff, and we use that information to learn more about sheep, and then in humans, because sheep and pregnancy in humans is really similar. Wouldn't necessarily expect that, but they're very similar in birth weight and all that stuff, but that's not the point of this talk. At all. I should stop. All right, so that's where I'm coming from right here. And I was, okay, there we go. I was, when I saw the choices of things that we could speak about at this event, this was the one that most intrigued me and also most terrified me. Sex education in schools, youth speak. First of all, I'm 30, so I don't know if I still qualify as a youth, but I was like, I'll go for it. Next, sex education in schools. That's really part of the reason why I decided to get into reproductive physiology. I didn't really have much of an education when it came to sex and the implications behind it and what to expect. And I'm not sure if, so in America we have a colloquial term called the talk, which is when usually your parents get together with you and they say, like, this is what you should expect, and either wait until you're married, or who cares, or at least, like, does this person respect you? You know, have that conversation with yourself. And you should be invited to ask questions and hopefully receive answers that are correct. But I didn't really get a lot of that when I was a kid, and the whole conversation behind sex like terrified me. And part of the reason why I'm nervous to be up here to talk to you guys, right? So that's actually, like, that's specifically why I'm here. And I'm gonna go ahead and, all right, so I looked up some information in America, and I would love to talk to you afterwards if you have any information about other countries and where you're from, etc. But specifically, only 13 states of the 50 in our country require sex education to be medically accurate. Yeah. Okay, I'm not sure exactly what that means, and I intend to look into that a lot in the future. But so a lot of this information is like really up for interpretation, whether it's with the teens who are receiving the information or on behalf of the teachers who are presenting the information. So it can be biased. It doesn't have to necessarily be exactly true. But there's a study done by the Public Library of Science that shows that when sex education is comprehensive, students feel more informed and they'll make safer choices and have healthier outcomes. And this would result in fewer unplanned pregnancies and more protection against sexually transmitted diseases. Let's see. So getting back to those statistics, or not statistics, but numbers, just to give you an idea of this crazy thing that's going on in our country. Going back to that comprehensive sex education subject, states have the option of choosing whether to include information on contraception, and that's 19 states of 50, I'll remind you, choose to include information on contraception. 12 states include information on abstinence, and 25 states stress abstinence. And between me and you, those are usually the states that have the higher STD rates and higher teen pregnancy rates. And it's crazy. I don't know how that argument can still be made, but they can also choose the attitude toward contraception and gender, like differences in gender and LGBTQ. And a lot of these, so 12 are inclusive specifically when it comes to LGBTQ, and 5 are specifically negative. And usually these are the highest in STD rates, because these students don't have access to information about contraception or how to have their own relationships. And it's really terrible, and it breaks my heart, because I'm originally from Connecticut, which is separate from New Mexico and very far away, but not this far though. Only 3,000 miles. And I was just so lucky that I got to have even just like a snippet of what other people in the United States don't have an opportunity to have. And in the world, very few people, really. And I want to have a difference in here, and this is my way to start. But I want to leave you with a question, I suppose, as to like what comprehensive sex education would look like. Now, I believe that this would be age appropriate, medically accurate, information on a broad set of topics that would be related to sexuality, including human development, relationships, decision-making, abstinence, contraception, whichever is the choice, because regardless of anybody's opinion, teens are going to do whatever they want. And they should have access to that information. And studies also show that when that information isn't offered to them, they will seek it elsewhere, like social media, which we know is not always correct, and more often than not is totally wrong. And just to add on to that, after that tangent, but addition to that, this sex education should include disease prevention. And, but just going back to, that would be in the realm of the public school system, right? If we're going to have an outline of specific education that students should have, and there's a line, like just a list of things that students should be exposed to, But something that happens in the United States at least is, and at least in my case, is that this talk is usually delegated to the parents specifically. And the states generally say, okay, well, the parents are going to take care of that. And then the parents say, okay, well, the school's going to take care of that. And there's this disconnect, and nobody has decided whose responsibility it is. They just have decided that it's somebody else's responsibility. Let them take care of it. And that's one thing I think is critical, because everybody is just abandoning these teams to decide what their healthy choice is without accurate information. So going forward, I'm going to consider or continue considering all of this information, and I hope that you'll join me as well. Thank you so much for this.
Really amazing that even though you feel the butterflies, you still stand up and share something that's really important to you. Because too many people keep quiet. And so just really, from my heart to yours, a really big well done for that. It's magic. I'm going to talk about something that is a radical paradigm shift. Because I believe that is what the education system needs. Who here believes that the education system could do with a massive shift and upgrade? Raise your hands, nice and high. Cool. And now a bit of a more personal question. Because sex education in schools isn't a nice to have. For me, this is a need to have. And I'd appreciate if you'd be honest with me. Who here has had some kind of negative sexual experience that could have been avoided if they had better education? Just raise your hands. Just have a look around. It's about half the room. In the UK, we have a society, a charity, that looks after children, and they say that the reported cases of child abuse in the UK is 1 in 20. That's reported. That doesn't count the ones who aren't reported. In America, there's an amazing association called RAINN, and they say that it's actually 1 in 9 women under the age of 18 suffer some kind of sexual abuse. And then when they survey adults, they actually say that it comes to 1 in 5 women. That's crazy. And I really believe it comes down to this. The people who are hurting these children, at some point in their life, have been hurt themselves. And hurt people hurt people. Does everybody agree? I don't believe that anybody is inherently good or bad. I just think people are doing the best they can with what they know. And when you have limited education, how can we expect you to make choices that are healthy, that are in the greatest good of everybody? And so this is why I'm discussing this shift in the education system. So I'd love if you could all hear me out. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Beautiful. So my name is Luke Scott III, and I'm the founder of a company called the Academy of Conscious Sexuality. So we provide sex education for adults and for young people. And I saw this vision which got me really excited, and I have no idea how it's going to happen, but I believe this is a step towards it. And if you could all help me manifest it, that would be great. But I saw this vision that we become one of the top providers for sex education to schools around the world. Because exactly like you said, the talk is just not enough. I know I'm getting a little bit serious, but this is a serious topic, right? I went to a school in a quite poor town in England, and there were about 1,000 kids in our school. So if we take that lowest statistic, 1 in 20, that means that in that school there were around 50 kids who were suffering at that time. If we take the higher estimate, it doesn't even bear thinking about. So, showing a video that is in black and white from the 1950s, which is what I saw, by the way. That was only 20 years ago. I saw this video that was black and white. It's just not enough. And so, what I'm suggesting here, what I would love for you to consider, is changing the way the education system works, fundamentally. Because our education system was actually created in the industrial age. Does anybody know why it was created? Anybody know? Shout out for me.
Produce factory workers.
To produce factory workers. Please give this lady a big round of applause. That is exactly why it was created. To teach you how to conform, to teach you how to put you in a box and say, okay, you can go and work in this kind of factory. Why are we still using this system? Anybody? Do you think there is a possibility that there is a better way that we can do this? Who thinks there's a better way? Nice, thank you. So, I want to give you some good news. You like some good news?
Yes.
You like some good news?
Yes.
Say yes!
Yes.
Everything is getting better. Everything is getting better. We have this magical thing now called the internet and YouTube, and you don't need to wait for your parents to talk to you anymore because you can go and search for stuff. And so many kids now are doing this. Isn't that amazing? And they can go and search for my videos, for your videos, for whoever wants to make stuff, right? We can go and we can give them this information. And right now on the planet, the CEO of Google, Eric Schmidt, says there's 4 billion people who have access to the internet. 4 billion. But in the next 2 years, they're releasing 5G globally. So all 7 billion people on the planet will have access to the internet. That means everyone in India, everyone in Africa, everyone all over the world. And there's strategies in place to give them mobile devices so that they can connect. Because you know, most people have on average like 6 mobile devices, but they only use 1 or 2. Has anyone got like some old electronics in their cupboard that they don't use, right? So the initiative is to give these to these people because they want to get everyone on the internet, so everyone can access this. It's exciting, right? But I don't think it's enough. Because you see, even if what you talk about happens, which is great, right? Giving them medically accurate information, giving them real advice about contraception, about their options, about how to build relationships, there's still a big fundamental piece missing which I never learned. Because in my school they taught us that when you have sex, a man takes his penis and puts it in a woman's vagina, and if he wiggles about for a while, sperm comes out, and then they're probably going to have a baby, unless they use contraception. That was about it. That was really about it. There was an awkward thing with a cucumber and a condom. Anyone had something like that? Yeah. I don't know how many lovers you have that are represented by a cucumber, exactly. Didn't make me feel great about what I have down there, I will be honest. But that's a whole different talk. But isn't there so much more to sex than that? Our company is the Academy of Conscious Sexuality because I believe most people are having unconscious sex. It's 2 bodies coming together and they're using friction to get some kind of orgasm for most people, and that's what I did most of my life. Because you can only do what you know, right? Who here has ever had sex? Who here has ever had sex and it has been so intimate and a really magical, beautiful experience? Anybody had something like that? Yeah? Great. This is what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be two energies coming together to create this beautiful third energy. Yes, of course, there's some pleasure from the friction, but that's like this much of what's available to you. I call it having a soul orgasm. Anybody like to have a soul orgasm? Nice. Nobody's putting their hand up. Come on. When did we go shy? Come on, I thought we were doing good. This is actually a really important point. Most parents, most teachers, they don't know how to have this conversation. They don't know how to communicate this. They get uncomfortable, right, when they start thinking about talking about sex or orgasms. Why? And most people, I know I'm in a conference full of women here, which is amazing, right? So most women I know, when they talk about sex, it's usually when they've had a couple of glasses of wine with their friends, right? And then they start swapping stories about their partners and their husbands and stuff. And my fiance tells me that she tells her friends everything. They know everything. They know exactly how big my cucumber is, apparently. But it's only when they're drunk, or it used to be. So how can we start this open and honest conversation? Would you like to know how we can start it? If you'd like to know, point to yourself. Everyone point to yourself. Say, it starts with me.
It starts with me.
Go and talk to those young people in your life. Be real with them. I run a public speaking academy as well. So I teach people how to become speakers. And one of my mentees is from Lithuania, which is a country in Eastern Europe, if you don't know. And his family literally told him he was born in a field of cabbages. And then I have another friend from Latvia, which is in Eastern Europe, and she said, whoa, that's what my parents told me too. That was until he was like 8 years old. He had no idea. So what then happens to this little kid, 5 years old, when someone starts being sexual with them? But no one's had that conversation with them yet. They don't even know what a penis and a vagina are. They don't know what their safe spots are. They don't know what's okay and what's not. Does anybody have any young people in their life? Man, I have a godson and a goddaughter. These are the conversations that we have. My fiancée is an amazing speaker. She's spoken in Buckingham Palace with Prince Harry, I believe it was, and she runs a foundation about body safety, running workshops to teach children about what is okay and what is not. And the way I teach this, I call it boundaries. Has anybody heard of boundaries? Wow, most people haven't heard of boundaries. So cool. Boundaries is like the rules of the game, okay? This is what you will allow, this is what I will accept, and this is what I won't. This applies not just in life, not just in sex, this is in all of your life. If you don't tell your partner what you like and what you don't like, how can you expect them to give you that? But most people don't even know what they like. And another thing about conscious sex is it's about being present. And when you don't set your boundaries, it's really hard to be present. Because in those most magical moments that you have with a lover, it's when you're not thinking. It's when you're being, right? You're fully in your body. But if you're worried, is he going to do this? Is he going to do that? Is he going to touch me here? You can't be fully present in the moment, so you're going to miss the magic. So teaching kids, what are their boundaries? Has anybody here ever had like a really nice massage? You know, just like a normal massage, you know, like sexual stuff, yeah? I'm sure none of you have ever done that, right? Who's had like a really nice massage? Great. I like to talk about sex as a massage. So imagine you're going for a massage and you know exactly how you like it, right? You know what kind of pressure you like, you know what kind of technique you like. You're going to tell your masseuse that, right? I bet most of you don't. You just hope it's going to be a nice massage. But the chances, if you hope that you're going to get exactly what you want, are like this. So I would say to the masseuse, I really love hard pressure. And I would love it if you could really focus on my lower back, because I've got a lot of tension there. And that thing you do where you do the choppy thing, I absolutely love that. If you do that, that would be amazing. And at the end, if you could just stroke my head for a while, that makes me feel really relaxed. Now, what do you think the chances are that I'm going to get what I want?
More.
Yeah, pretty good, right? And if during the massage he's not doing what I want, I can ask for adjustments. Did you know that during sex you can ask your partner for adjustments? Who would feel comfortable to do that? Yes. Good. It's your body. If someone's doing something to you that you don't like, it's your responsibility to tell them to stop. We need to have this conversation with our children. Everybody take a deep breath in for me. And out. I know this is a heavy subject. Has anybody ever been to Finland? Finland is amazing. Finland has the best education system in the whole world. If you haven't looked at the Finnish education system, really check it out. It is awesome. They have the highest results in the whole world, most qualified students, and they have no standardized tests. In a normal school day, children only do 3 hours of learning. They spend the rest of the time being kids. This is a way we can shift our education system, because standardized tests are only there for the teachers in the school so they can make more money. One of my mentees, she's an amazing teacher. She teaches 5-year-olds. 5. She has to give them tests. She has to teach 5-year-olds how to pass tests because her bonus is reliant on those test scores. Can anyone remember being 5? Does anyone know any 5-year-olds or around that age? Like, do they want to be doing tests? What do they want to do?
Play.
They want to play, they want to be kids, right? How can we make this education system suitable for the modern world with the internet? There's so many options out there. There's some amazing schools already. You can look up Steiner schools, really, really great schooling system. Montessori schools, they're incredible as well. And there's so many others like it. You can even get Skype schools now. Did you know that?
Yes.
I know this amazing kidpreneur, he's like 14, he has a multi-million-dollar business, 14. And he goes, 14, 1-4, and he goes to Skype school. Why would he need to go to a physical school anymore? So I just want to put this into your awareness and start to talk about these things. And I want to just sum this up for you in what I believe we can do to radically shift this education system. First thing, we need to start having open and honest conversations with the young people in our lives. With every person in our lives, but especially the young people. Who, you know when you're like with your best friend, and you can just feel safe to talk about anything, right? There's no shame, is there? Imagine if that's what it was like with everybody you met. Imagine if you started sharing how nervous you are about doing public speaking. How powerful that is for everyone else. Or what about if you started sharing that you were abused as a child? How powerful could that be for everyone else that hasn't had the courage or the capability or the knowledge to stand up and get help for that yet? It's my fiance. I told you about her a few times now. We're getting married in July, so it's happening really soon. She's Pakistani, so I'm married into a big Pakistani Indian family, so it's actually really cool. I'm speaking in India. It's my first time being here. And she was abused when she was 5. And then she was abused repeatedly for most of her life. No one speaks up about it where she's from. Can we change that? Can we start being more courageous? Can we make a stand for all these people, these kids, these women and men who are abused? Openness and honesty, first thing. Second thing, we need to shake up the education system. We need to give kids more time to be kids, and we need to change the way it works. Get rid of the standardized testing, or change the way that the standardized testing system works. You know, in Finland, no school is better or worse than any other school, because they don't have a measure to measure the school. But in the Western society, schools compete with each other. Do you know why they compete with each other? Money! Yes, please give a big round of applause. Yes. The schools with the highest ratings get the most funding. So they don't really care what the kids' experience is. Some people do, obviously. But what they really care about is, are they going to get their funding next year? So we'll shake that up. Third thing. We need to add in some extra things to the curriculum around sexuality. It's great talking about anatomy, medically accurately, right? Wild. It's great to talk about contraception and your options. If it's abstinence or whatever it is, it's great to talk about that. And then you've got the practical principles. Okay, how do you actually do it? How does it work? Right? Those kind of things that most people still don't know. And you end up trying to figure it out when you meet someone in some kind of nightclub, right? And you take them home and it's pitch black and you have no idea what's going on, and then you wake up a few weeks later and you realise you're pregnant, but you thought you put the condom on. Or he told you he did anyway. Because he was pretending he knew what he was doing. First time I had sex, I really pretended that I knew what I was doing. I had no idea. Practical skills. Then we need to talk about the deeper level. I really believe everything now, I believe the whole world is waking up. I believe there's this big shift going on. Does anyone know that? Like experiencing that? There's a big shift on the planet now. People are becoming more aware, more conscious, right? So let's talk about that. When you have sex with someone, sex, a lot of people say, stands for sacred energy exchange. Sacred energy exchange. It's not something to play around with. You need to make sure that if you are going to receive someone into your body, that your body wants that person's energy to mix with yours. Because when your energy mixes with them, it's mixed forever. You take parts of their energy, they take parts of yours, and you create this new energy. You're never the same again after you make love to someone. And it's up to you if that's an upgrade or a downgrade. So be really conscious about this. What else can we add into the education? I really believe talking about boundaries. I run workshops and retreats all around the world teaching sexual education to adults. Most of them have never heard of boundaries. They don't know what they want. They have no idea how to communicate that. So we need to teach boundaries. And the final thing I would add in, it's obviously a lot more, but just for this talk, it's about consent. Have that real conversation about consent. If you don't want to do something, you can say no, and you don't have to explain yourself. A no is a no. Turn to the person next to you now and ask them, can I punch you in the face? And please respond honestly how you feel. Now ask them if you can have a hug. And respond honestly how you feel. So say, can I have a hug? Ask the person next to you. Yeah. And if you want to hug them, you can hug them. That's cool too. Beautiful. Consent starts from when you're a very young child. Consent starts from when you're a very young child. I want to just leave you with this powerful awareness that maybe you don't have. I see a lot of parents force their children to hug people. And their body's telling them no. Their body's saying, I don't want to hug that uncle or that auntie. And we make them. So we teach them from a young age that what they feel in their body doesn't matter, and we override that. Please don't make your kids do anything like that. It's a tiny thing, right? And we think it's nothing, but it's actually so huge because your subconscious mind is programmed from, a lot of people believe, when you're 0 to 7. I love physics and quantum mechanics. I'm like a real geek, right? So if you want to geek out on this, we can go through all the stats and stuff. But, so when you're that young, you then learn, well, how I feel doesn't really matter. Start telling your children, the young people in your life, that what they feel is what matters the most. And tell yourself that too. Thank you. If any of you are like me and you feel the calling that you want to reform the education system, I have a special group called Education Reform with Luke Scott. It's a Facebook membership group. There's around 160 people in there now who've all got programs in schools, they work in schools, they're all doing stuff. And we all use each other's resources and networks. So if you want to change something, you don't have to do it all yourself and go figure it out. So if you'd like to join that group, I'd love to invite you all. It's Education Reform with Luke Scott. You can go on Facebook and check that out. Or I have a form here. If you just want to pop down your name, your email address, I'll send you the details of the group and then we can connect that way. Because I really believe when we try and do things ourselves, that's the slow way, that's the hard way. I really believe together we can make such a big impact in one generation. It just starts with you. Thanks. Do we have Naima? Questions?
Curious level about that hug. About hugging, like forcing students to hug each other, or kids to hug each other, anybody, or, oh, you just met this boy, he's your boyfriend. I don't know how to do that. Or like you're just forced into this box.
Give everyone a chance to think of your questions. Thank you.
Can I share something?
Yes, please.
Yeah, this is like, I'm from Mumbai, and I have come to Delhi, and I have a lot of relatives here. So I'm like staying a few days with each of them. I hardly get some time post this event. So today morning when I was leaving with my luggage and everything, so I wanted to hug my nephew. I'm staying with my cousins. And I asked him, can I hug you? And he said, no. And I respected that. I said, bye, we'll meet soon. And my cousin was really upset about it. But you know, she knows that I really love him. And he said, no, I completely respect the boundaries part, you know, because as a human being, we are infuriated if somebody touches our car, but you let your child touch by like anybody and everybody and kissed and mocked and whatever else, you know. So that's sensitivity. If someone enters your house, you feel offended, but somebody touches your child, you don't feel anything. I don't know what kind of sensitivity you're like losing on, and it's like across the board. So this is something which happened in the morning. You know, my own cousin, she was like, why didn't you let her hug you, you know? I said, it's perfectly fine, you didn't want to, that's it. So,
Thank you for sharing that. Can we give It's so important, but something beautiful can happen from this. Everything happens for a reason, I really believe. So, because that exchange happens, it gives you an opportunity, if you choose to, you don't have to have a really open conversation with your cousin about boundaries.
I will do that.
Right?
right? And
Post
find
this
it-
session, yes.
Yeah.
I think I need to have that conversation.
Amazing. Let me know how it goes as well. That'd be
Yeah.
so good. Please also do contact me on Facebook. It's Luke Scott or LinkedIn as well. Yes, I am fully booked. Drop me a message and I'll delete someone and add you as a friend. Facebook only lets you have 5,000 friends, so when you're a speaker, you can travel around the world and so quickly, right? But the special people are making exceptions. But you can all follow me, and if you really want to be my friend, just send me a message.
I
Any other questions?
have a scenario of, is this being recorded?
Yeah.
Do you mind? Just to speak, please. Well, that's part of what we're saying. When I was much younger, I had a cousin living with us, very close person, a guy, and we were all like siblings, close together. And one day I was brushing in the bathroom. Probably must have been 9, and he comes to try to squeeze me from behind. And I was like, "Are you okay? I mean, you're my cousin." And I kept quiet. I never told anybody. Now, this is over 40 years now. By the time I got to learn about what this young man is into right now, I said to myself, maybe if I had spoken out when I was much younger, this would have been nipped in the bud. He's married, but right now, I want to use the word of, he's a serial sex maniac. Married, but he goes around, doing all of that. And it's like, it's so worrying for me because I'm thinking, how can we help this young man? He has such a good heart, lovely, he's a believer, and you're wondering, how do you help? So for me, it's like, I always feel bad that probably if I had spoken up as a young girl, but I was scared that who would believe me? Would they just, push it under the carpet? And this is years after, and I'm regretting not speaking out. So, I don't know.
Really good you just spoke out. That experience that happened to you now, maybe this was the reason why that happened, so you can speak out and change all these people and give them a new perspective, so then next time something does happen to them, they'll speak out. So you just change the whole world by being open and honest. But this is really an important aspect. When I talked about most people don't know what they want, we call it desires, that's how we teach it. I don't know if it's going to be suitable to do a session in schools about understanding your desires. I don't know how open some more traditional parents would be about that. But in our workshop, we teach about understanding your desires. You see, you're not in control of your desires. You don't choose your desires. They come whatever you believe in gives you your desires, right? I didn't choose to be an international speaker. One day I woke up and saw this vision, and I was like, "Whoa, that's awesome!" It felt great. So he had some desire when he was younger, but we don't really talk about it, so it creates a shame and a stigma. Imagine you could talk openly about your desires, and a lot of